Hey, what's up? So there's actually a 4K laptop coming out, and it's just over 500 bucks if you can believe that, so let's get into it. Hey everyone, I hope everyone's doing fine, and I know with this kind of crazy thing going on in the world, simple things mean a lot, like how do you get a haircut? So you're going to see me wearing actually a hat a lot, and hopefully everyone stays safe out there. But just the simple things in life, like getting a haircut, how do you do it in these times when you're quarantined? But anyways, let's get into the video and keep people's mind off of it for now. So anyways, there's actually a new laptop coming out, and it's a 4K laptop, and it's going to be just over 500 bucks. You can actually get it for about 509 if you actually get in early, and it's I think it retails for around 550. 4K, and it's got some big pluses to it, and it's got a couple little minuses to it as well, which I'm going to go through, so stay tuned. It's not out yet, so I don't have a copy of it. I can't show you all about it. Plus I'm quarantined in a house, so I'm kind of trying to make some videos just to kind of show people what's coming out in the future. But it should be out, they say, like April, May time. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a link and where you can get some information about when it's coming out. And long story short though, it's basically going to have, like I said, some advantages to it, some disadvantages, but it is 4K, and it's going to compete kind of directly with maybe a MacBook Pro, like the lower model. If for the money, it's going to be a good value, and you'll know the company in a second, and I'm going to show it to you here in a second on my screen. So let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit, and I'll show you kind of what's coming out, how you can actually get in line to buy one, and then we can go ahead. Hopefully we'll be able to get one later and do a full review on it. But for now, quarantine, I'm just trying to show people what's coming out in the future. So let's go. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you what this is, and this is actually going to be the Chewie. If you guys have heard of this company before, I believe it's a Chinese company, but it's CHUWI, and they've been making laptops for a long time, but they're actually crowdfunding this one, and it's going to have they have a really good track record with delivering, so I don't think that there's going to be a problem with this one. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a video on it in a second here, so stay tuned and then show you the full specs. But basically, the positive is going to be the price, and you can actually get it a little bit cheaper than this at than $550. And again, I'll show you pictures here, ports, everything else, so stay tuned. But basically, the big caveat is it's got a Skylake CPU in it for some reason, and that's basically going to be an older CPU, which I'll go over and show you the model number. But it does come with either 8 or 16 gigs of RAM, and it does come with 256 or 512 SSD, and it starts at around 550, even less than that if you get into the crowdfunding. So I'll go ahead and show you guys exactly what this is all about. Let's go ahead and start the video on this here in a second.
Chuwi AeroBook Pro 15.6. It's a revolution in 4K display brilliance, size, and processor power. The stunning 15.6-inch screen with 4K Ultra HD resolution gives you a portable 4K window on the world. And it's thin, very thin.
All right, not to interrupt or anything, but this is basically going to be something like you said that would replace a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air or something. It's really thin. It has pretty good specs. So let's let this play a little bit longer, then I'll go through the actual exact specs with you.
Very thin. Its 8-hour battery can be charged to 60% in 60 minutes. USB-C ports makes connectivity a snap. With its modern looks and metal unibody construction, the AeroBook Pro's lightweight package reinvents portability. Edit in 4K Ultra HD with active HDR technology and professional 10-bit color depth.
So the actual CPU, even though it's going to be an older CPU, which we'll show you in a second, it's basically got a fairly, a graphics card that's going to be capable of 4K editing. So at least know that. So as long as you're not doing anything crazy, you should be able to get away with editing on this as well.
Let the Intel i5 processor supercharge your video performance and your gaming performance too. With blazing fast, stable performance, the bright screen makes viewing easy, and stereoscopic sound makes watching video more exciting and immersive. With dual expansion slots, you'll never run out of memory. The Chuwi AeroBook Pro experience.
All right, so you guys got a little look at it right there, and let's go ahead and into the specs. All right, now I'll have actually a link to this in my description. So here is the Indiegogo page that they're actually doing the crowdsourcing with. It's the AeroBook Pro 15.6 Timeless Elegance with 4K visuals. So here's the video I just watched, and you can watch that again if you want to. Let's go ahead and get into the specs here. So this is a prototype, obviously, but again, they have delivered on this a lot, so I'm not afraid of them not making this. They're actually way above their funding. If you look up here, it's 742% funded, so I think this is going to go through for sure. They're at $191,000 right now, so no problem with getting this funded. Concept, prototype, that's where they are right now. Production and shipping, and I'll get through the dates with you in a second. Long story short, let's go ahead and take a look at the basic specs here. It's got 15.6, and that's going to be the 4K screen. This is the issue. It's the i5. It's got a 6287U, and that's up to 3.5 gigahertz. So it's an older CPU for sure, but it should be capable of what you need in a laptop of this size. So keep that in mind, that it's not going to be the best, but it's definitely not going to be the worst either. So it's got 8 or 16 gigs of RAM. The base model comes with 8 gigs and then 256 gigs for the SSD. 55 watt actually is what it's using there. It's got the Iris Graphics 550 hard to code 4K 60 hertz video. That's the actual graphics card. 3840 by 2160 resolution with a 100% sRGB color gamut, and it's full metal, which is actually great, and it does have USB-C, which they said. If you go over here to the right, though, you can see it does have the 20% off if you get into it early. You can get this for about $509 right here, if you can see my clicker, basically, and that's going to be 23% off if you can get in early, and then it goes down from there. There's different models you can get in, and depending on what you pledge and things, you get it for a different cost. As you scroll down this, you can see it just goes through some of the basic specs. It does tell you about the screen, 4K Retina screen, more than 1.07 billion colors. Everything in here is obviously just kind of trying to sell the system to people, but it does have a chart in here that compares it to something like a Surface Laptop 3 or a MacBook Pro. And you can see the big difference is cost, $549, almost $1,200, and $13.50. So basically very similar in specs. Obviously a better screen, like we had said. The chip is going to be the one thing that's kind of is going to be lacking for sure. Iris Graphics 550 though is going to be capable of what we need there. 28 watt TDP. Everything else is pretty straightforward, but as far as the actual slots, you get 2 USB-A 3.0, USB-C full featured, 1 HDMI-A type, which is actually really good, and a headphone jack, 2 SSD slots. One time, you do get an expansion slot as well, which is really nice, and then 1 micro SD slot. So it's got Bluetooth, just 4.2. That could be an issue for some people, and about 8 hours of battery. The full specs are here. Again, I'm not going to go through all of them, but it's got the Skylake Core i5 6287U, and it's basically max turbo frequency is 3.5 gigahertz. So if you go down this, there's nothing really that stands out than something that we didn't talk about before. It does have 2.4 and 5G wireless, Bluetooth 4.2, which I said. The operating system, it does come with Windows 10, which is really good, and everything else is pretty straightforward. It's 3.75 pounds, a little bit heavier just because of the fact that it is 15.6, so almost 16-inch laptop, and that's going to obviously give it a little bit more weight than maybe a 13-inch. Beyond that, if you scroll down, the big thing again, if you need this kind of stuff, you can go through this yourself. Obviously, it shows you where the expansion slots are and various things as far as cooling and everything else, but here's the way that the slots are laid out right here in the middle. Up here you can see it's the micro SD, USB-A 2.0 headset, USB-A 3.0, and then the USB-C as well, and an HDMI port. So it shows you about the cooling, but the main thing I wanted to show is if people actually need this, here's the operating systems that it does work with, and it does work with Windows 10, but Windows 7 also, because of that older CPU, it does work with Linux and Ubuntu. Any Linux usually should work on this, so just keep that in mind if you're a Linux person and want to actually install that on this laptop. It should work. Timeline is the last thing here. And it looks like the launch is going to be around March 2020. That's the Indiegogo launch. Prototype testing is where we kind of are right now. Pre-production and testing is in April of 2020, and then mass production and quality check is May, and June is worldwide shipping. So look for June as the date when it's going to be coming out. So if you like this, go ahead and get one ordered, and like I said, they have a pretty good track record on this company of actually delivering their products. And let's go up to the top and just explain one more time what it is. It's the AeroBook Pro 15.6 Timeless Elegance with 4K, so go ahead and take a look at that.
Anyways, I do apologize about the videos where I can't review a ton of stuff because obviously I'm stuck in my house, but
I figured this was a good one just because of the cost of this device. It's, you know, it's maybe about a half or a third of some of the other ones that are out there. And it seems to have pretty good specs except for the CPU. And the CPU, though, does have some advantages of being able to run like Windows 7 for someone that may need that. It's kind of, I know, a little bit unusual that you would, but some people do need that for some reasons. Beyond that, though, I think it should be sufficient on this machine. I know they're probably going for that for the price of it and keeping costs low. So at the end of the day, it's a pretty good value, and you know, for $550 or $509 or whatever you want to pay for it, it's not a bad, you know, not a bad value. Let's just be honest. So, anyways, again, everyone stay safe. I know it's kind of crazy times right now. I'm moving into a place eventually where I'm going to have a nice kind of studio and everything. As of right now, though, I'm doing my filming kind of in a dark room, and I apologize about that. But we'll get there. You know, a couple more months maybe, or a month or two, and we'll get through this. So. Anyways, take care. I make videos, you know, on technology, Mac, PC, some travel and some finance, which I don't do too much right now. And at the end of the day, though, we'll get there, like I said, eventually. If you guys can subscribe, help me out. We'll talk to you in about, you know, usually a couple days I'll make another one. So talk to you soon. Bye.